What is up, you guys? For today's video, we are going to be testing out the Imagination palette from the Maddie Ziegler x Morphe collection, and oh my gosh, like the packaging is so cool. It kind of gives me like angelic, ethereal type of vibes. But if you haven't seen the inside of this palette, it is honestly really cool and really fun for summer. You get like a really cool and interesting vibe. You know, you get these really fun bright colors, you get a little hint of smokiness, and you also get some neutral colors for everyday wear. But before I show you guys how to do this kind of like purple smoky eye using this palette, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and also give this video a like. And if you'd like to check me out over on my Instagram page, it is at Breyonna. So first things first, I'm just going to be priming my eyelids, and I'm just going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Eye Primer. So today we are going to be testing out the brand new Maddie Ziegler collaboration with Morphe, and this is called the Imagination palette. And I don't know if you're like this too, but this is kind of giving me ethereal vibes with the packaging. You know, it kind of has like that whimsical, kind of like angelic look to it. So with the color story of this palette, we do have some neutrals, we have some brights, we have like some smoky colors, and also some pastels, which I'm really excited for. But I will say, like looking at it, like as a first impression standpoint, a lot of the neutrals are really similar in this one. You know, like this kind of like warm tone brown called Latte and M3, To the Moon and Godfather, they kind of have like a similar vibe to them. And what's the other one? Butterfly Fantasy and then Maddie Girl. I don't know, I kind of find it a little bit weird that there is so many shades that look relatively similar, especially since there's only 20 colors in here. Like, I don't know, I'm just not about that. But again, we haven't tried them out on our eyes. Maybe they look a little bit different when you apply them. I'm not 100% sure. Anywho, so the first shade that we're going to be going in with is this really pretty baby blue shade called number 5. So I barely put my brush into the pan, and like look how dusty this shade is. Like, it is getting everywhere, like super messy. So I'm just going to take it on this Makeup of the Day Build and Blend brush, and I'm just going to be applying it right into my crease. Ooh, she's super pigmented though. Like, dang, I don't know, I was not expecting that, especially with it being so dusty. I was assuming that it was going to have to be built up a little bit. But even on the first initial application, like, it is applying exactly how it looks like in the pan. I'm just going to slightly build it up though, because I'm kind of curious to see if it'll get a little bit deeper in color. Oh yeah, she definitely builds up. You don't have to do 2 layers, but the effect that you do get if you do build it up is definitely worth it. And also for a blue, like this is not giving me any like weird lines. It's blending out super nice. After I got that blue applied, it definitely looks like a sky blue, but the next shade that we're going to be going in with is this kind of like purpley, kind of like lavender shade in the palette called She Insists. And then I'm just going to take this right into my crease using this Morphe M433 blending brush. I'm really curious about this shade though, because sometimes purples are just terrible and they can be like the worst thing to work with, especially when you start pairing them with blues. Like, they can just be a real hot mess. And I'm just kind of like rounding it out around my outer V as well. And when I'm blending it up into that blue, I'm just doing these little tiny circular motions. And then I'm just going to go back in with that brush that we applied that blue with. And with whatever is left, I'm just going to do these little circular motions, kissing the edge of that purple. Just because I want to make sure everything is nice and blended together. Because we are going to be doing something super smoky today. And we do not want any harsh lines. So now we're going to be going in with this kind of like reddish burgundy shade in the palette called Go Home. And I'm just going to be taking it on this BH Cosmetics number 4 brush out of their Zodiac Eye Set. And again, I'm just going to be applying that into my crease to help deepen things up, because you guys know I like my look super dramatic and super smoky. And then after I have it applied, I'm just going to start doing these little circular motions to blend that into that purple. And this should help deepen up that purple as well. You know, that's applying a lot more purple than I expected. I was expecting it to be like super red and kind of like a grungy, kind of like burgundy shade. But it's almost applying more like a raspberry. And to me, this shade is a lot more pigmented than that purple initially, so I'm actually kind of surprised. And I'm just going to start building it up a little bit, because I do want this crease extra dark and defined, because we are going to be cutting it in a minute. This shade actually kind of reminds me of, I think it's called Crazy in the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette. It has like that certain vibe to it. And for being this type of color, it is not giving me any problems either. Like, it looks really even on the eye, and it's not giving me any harsh lines. Now, I don't know if you're like this too, but like these colors together are so cool in my opinion. Like, I don't know what is up with them, but they have like a certain kind of vibe. You know, it's giving us like this kind of like ethereal, kind of like whimsical, colorful look, but at the same time we have like this kind of like hint of smokiness. Like, I don't know, like I think it's turning out super cool. But off camera though, I'm just gonna quickly cut my crease. I'm gonna do like a normal cut crease, and I'm just gonna be using that ABH eye primer that we used earlier. So here's where I'm at right now after cutting the crease, and as you can tell, we got this kind of like chunkiness right here in this outer portion, and we're gonna get rid of that. So I'm just gonna go back in with that burgundy shade, and I am using this kind of like fluffy angled eyeshadow brush. It is a Come Through Contour from Makeup of the Day, and I'm just gonna be packing this on right in that outer third. I'm really like pressing this pigment in to help get rid of that harsh line. And then afterwards, I'm gonna start flicking it inwards. This will help blend in our lid shade in a second. So once you have that edge all nice and blended out, now we're gonna start working on the lid, and I really wanna go in with this dark purple shade. It is so gorgeous in the pan. It is called Poppy, and it's like this beautiful royal purple shimmer shade. So I'm just gonna take it on this dampened A2 brush from Anastasia, and I'm going to be applying it in this outer kind of like third of my lid. And I'm slightly overlapping it with that burgundy. Okay, but like that as a shimmer is so awesome. I don't know if you guys can see the shift of it, but in person it is super sparkly. There's a really cool vibe to it. And I love it next to that burgundy that we have over in here as well. They go so well next to each other. And now for the rest of the lid, we are going to be going in with the pink shimmer shade called Dancing Queen. And I'm just going to be applying it to the rest of our lid, anywhere that that base is still showing. Kind of in this inner half of the eye. And I'm just using a damp and flat shader brush. Okay, that is applying a lot different than what I expected. I don't know why. I was expecting it to be like a medium baby pink kind of shade, but it's applying more kind of like a champagne in a way, with like a pink undertone. But trust me, it looks nothing like it does in pan, so you have to be a little bit mindful of it if you decide to use it. But I will say it does have like that beautiful wet metallic sheen like that purple does. So I'm just going to keep on layering this up till I get it to look like it does in the pan. And I'm also like slightly overlapping it with that purple, just to make sure that they're getting all nice and blended together. Now, I don't know if you're like this too, but I feel like if they would have included some iridescent lid toppers in here, you know, like a baby pink, a baby blue, and a baby purple, I feel like it would have just brought this palette to like a whole other level. And it would just make it like so much more like ethereal and customizable. I mean, like, it's cute where it's at, but I feel like if we had some lid toppers, it would just kind of like bring it up a notch. And then using that brush that we applied the purple with, I'm just using it to kind of like finesse that pink into the purple. Okay, but like these colors though, like I don't know about you, but I'm so obsessed with how this is turning out so far. Like it's just so cool. And I know most people have been doing like light and airy looks with this palette, but honestly on my channel we do things a little bit more on the dramatic and smoky side. And I'm so happy that we took that route too, just because this look is just turning out so awesome. But off camera though, I'm just gonna quickly clean things up a little bit because as you can tell, I got some fallout right here and we need to get rid of that. And I'm also going to apply like my complexion products, my liner, my lashes, and then I'll be right back to finish up the look. So here's where I'm at right now after doing that all off camera, but oh, like I'm just loving how this is turning out so far. But now we're gonna start working on the lower lash line, and I'm first gonna line my waterline with this House Laboratories RIP lip liner in the shade Drag. I know this is a lip liner, but man, it is so good for the waterline and the lash line. Like it blends out so beautifully. I'm also wearing it on my lips right now. I just think it's such a nice formula. And then once you have that liner applied, I'm just going to take a little bit of that light lavender that we used earlier called She Insists. I'm taking it on this Luxie 231 small tapered blending brush. And I'm just using it to smoke down that liner. And when I'm doing this, I'm doing back and forth motions. And I'm just going to take the teeniest amount of number 5, which is the blue, and go right on the edge. Just to kind of bring back that like bluish purple hue. So once you have that lower lash line all nice and smoky, now we're going to be doing my absolute favorite part, which is the inner corner highlight. And I'm just going to warn you right now, you're either going to really love what I'm going to do, you're going to really hate it. Because I know it's not for everybody, but I just want to do something a little bit on the spicy side. So what I'm going to do is go into this really bright yellow in the palette called Like Butter. Like I warned you, you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it, but you know what? I just need something different. So I'm just going to take it on this Sigma, what are you called, an E30 brush? And I'm going to start packing it right in that inner corner. You know, I expected that shade to be a lot more pigmented, so I'm going to kind of like build it up a little bit. Let's see if we can get this a little bit more intense. It seems like she's building up though. It's just kind of taking a little bit of time. So I'm just going to keep on packing this down until we get like a really bright yellow. And I mean, like, she's building up. I was just expecting this shade to be a little bit more on the neon side, because in the pan, it definitely has like that little hint of neon. Whereas when I'm applying it, it definitely looks more like a butter yellow. I was wondering why they called it butter yellow when it looked neon in the pan, but now I understand what they meant by it. It's still a really cute shade though. Now you definitely don't have to do this next step, but for me personally, I definitely want a blinding inner corner highlight. Like, you guys know me, I love it like super bright and extra. So I'm actually going to be going in with my highlighter today, and this one is from Anastasia. It is the loose highlighter in the shade Vegas. And then using that same brush, but this time I have it dampened, I'm gonna go right on top of that yellow, just to help kind of like brighten it up a little bit. Oh yeah, that is exactly what I was looking for. Oh my gosh, like that is so cool. And I love it next to that pink. And I'm just gonna slightly layer it up just a little bit because I want it extra bright. But do you see what I mean though? It makes such a difference. And it just kind of like brought it all together. So here's the finish look using the Imagination palette by Morphe, and I don't know about you guys, but I am in love with how this turned out. I love like the bluish purple smoky feel we have in the crease, you know, like the pinky purple moment on the lid, and even the yellow inner corner highlight, I really dig it. At first I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it or not, so I was asking, you know, like my boyfriend as well as, you know, like other people. I was like, should I do the yellow inner corner highlight or would it look a little bit weird? But I'm so happy that I did it just because I think it turned out really special. So let's go over the formula of the palette, and I do want to cover the mattes first because we mostly use mattes today. And I will say overall the shadows have an amazing pigmentation to them, and they just blend out like a dream. Like, I had no issues with any of the shades that we used today, but I will say shades like this yellow as well as the kind of like lilac-y purple that we used, they have more of a buildable formula, so if you don't like building up your shadows, you probably won't like those two. However, you know, shades like the blue that we used in this kind of like burgundy color, those ones were super intense with the pigmentation. Like, you almost have to watch out because of it. Like, I took my brush and like barely tapped it into the pan and then applied it to my eye, and oh my gosh, like it was just so intense right away. And personally, that is how I like my shadows. I want them like pout in your face with that pigment. And I know that's not everybody's taste, but for me, I love a lot of color, I love brightness and just richness with my shadows, and these two especially are really good with that. As for the shimmers that we used, I actually really like the formula of them and found them really easy to apply. I will say the pink one right here, you do have to build it up if you want it to look like it does in the pan. It almost applies a little bit more on the sheer side. However, after 2 layers, I was able to get it to where I wanted it to be, and I mean, I think it looks really pretty. So when it comes down to it, would I recommend this palette to you guys? And honestly, I had a lot of fun with it, and I definitely recommend checking it out. Whether you like the color story of it or if you want to support her collection, I think you're going to be really happy with it, because this palette just has a really fun and just colorful vibe to it, but at the same time, I find it a little bit more approachable. So you get these really fun and bright colors, you get some neutrals for everyday wear, and you also get like this little hint of smokiness to it. Even though this palette is really cute, honestly, like the formula is just really nice. You know, the mattes in here, very easy to work with and very beginner friendly, at least in my opinion. And the shimmers in here look super beautiful on the eyes. But yeah, so in the comments down below, let me know what you think about this look, and also let me know if you'd like to see more looks using this palette. But as always though, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and also give this video a like. And if you'd like to check me out over on my Instagram page, it is @Breyonna. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!